In the first scene, we meet a reporter called Justin Sanderson. He is known for being a good investigator. He is at the airport right now getting ready for his trip to Tel Aviv, Israel. As he walks into the airport, he sees a familiar book called The End of Civility sitting on a shelf. It turns out that he wrote the book himself. Justin walks over to the bookshelf because he is interested, but when he gets there, he runs into another tourist named Joe Beaumont. Joe knows Justin right away and says that he likes his work a lot. Then, he asks eagerly for an autograph. Joe has been a fan of Justin's for a long time, so Justin gets Joe a copy of his book and signs it. Later, while Justin is waiting in the airport lounge, he calls his wife. She seems sad that he is leaving and says that she will be alone. But Justin says that he has seen something very strange, which is what made him decide to go on this trip and learn more about it. As the two keep talking, he notices a strange string of similarities. The flight number is 1015, and today is October 15th. Also, the plane will now leave at 10:15 instead of 9:30, because the departure time was changed without warning. After a while, Justin and the other travelers get ready to board the plane. As he walks inside, he sees a family having trouble figuring out where to sit. They are having trouble getting their kids to fit in. Surprisingly, Justin offers the family his own place, which is a kind thing to do. He then goes back to the main house, where he meets Joe again. Just as Justin is getting comfortable in his new spot, he notices something strange behind the seat in front of him. 10:15. Unexpectedly, the storyteller is talking about this flight. He says that the flight will disappear from the radar in an hour and never be seen again. When Justin hears this, he is interested, so he keeps listening to the show. Then, in enigmatic, the person telling the story tells us that the flight captain's name is Donna. This finally makes Justin worried, so he tells a fellow passenger to listen to the show, hoping that he is wrong. But the man rudely turns her down and moves to a different place. Because of this, Justin can't stop listening to the show, even though he's getting more and more uncomfortable. In the next part, the narrator says that at exactly 10:21, a bird will hit the plane. To Justin's shock and fear, a bird does hit the plane at the exact time it was supposed to, making him even more scared. In a frantic attempt to get himself together, he runs to the bathroom and tries to calm down by telling himself over and over that the past is the past. After that, Justin goes back to his seat and calls one of the flight workers to ask about the bird and the strange noise the engine was making. But the flight attendant says she has never heard of anything like that. Even when Justin asks to talk to the captain, he says no, because he doesn't want to make a fuss. In reaction, Justin yells, which is something he has never done before in his life. But he soon figures out that he was wrong and apologizes to the flight attendant, promising that he will stop talking. Goodbye, New York. When the poor guy hears this, he gets even more upset and restless. Justin gets up and goes looking for hints. Soon, he finds out that the cameras on this flight let the passengers see what's going on in the cockpit with the pilots. The show goes on to say that the strange situation may have been caused by a device that interfered with the flight's communication system. Justin is suspicious, so he keeps looking at two foreign guys who are busy on their phones. Then he goes up to them and asks them in a rude way to turn off their phones. But the two men say that their phones are set to airplane mode when asked about it. This makes Justin angry, so he starts a fight with them until the flight attendants step in and tell him to go back to his seat. After this, Justin listens to the podcast more and finds out about a man named Igor Orlov who was on the same trip to Tel Aviv as he was. He is going to talk against the Russian mob, it turns out. This makes Justin think that the mob may have had something to do with the flight going wrong. But he also thinks there is a good chance that a secret US air marshal is on board. This person would have important information about the safety of the plane. Now that Justin knows this new knowledge, he goes to a flight attendant again and asks to talk to the air marshal. But the flight attendant is annoyed by how often he asks questions, so she asks him to do her a big favor and stay in his seat. Justin goes to Joe because he has no one else to talk to. Joe, who is also a pilot, says that the air marshals are often just as dishonest as terrorists. Inadvertently, this makes Justin check out the belongings of the Russian travelers. Then Justin sneaks into the luggage area for the Russian guests and starts checking their bags while they are sleeping. Even though the other people on the bus see this, Justin doesn't stop. As he tries to open the overhead compartment, he drops a bag by accident on one of the Russian tourists. This makes a scene, and the two guys argue with each other. Just then, Justin tells everyone that the Russian gang plans to kill Igor Orlov, which makes everyone very scared. Even Igor Orlov is worried and scared when he comes out of the first-class area. To fix the problem, Captain Donner gets out of the cockpit and gives a warning. Justin warned against making things worse. When the other people in the car also start recording him, Justin has to go back to his place quietly. After this, he turns on the radio again, and the shocking thing that the narrator says is that Justin is the one who has a direct link to the flight going missing. He also plays an audio recording of Justin's last fight with the Russian travelers. Before our main character can say anything, Captain Donner takes him to the dock for flight attendants and talks to him about his strange behavior. New York, because it will be the last thing they hear before the plane goes away. This makes the captain think that Justin's mind is not steady and that he is having a psychotic episode. Soon after that, the air marshal finally says who she is and arrests Justin for making threats against the whole trip. Justin is now sitting next to the US air marshal, who tells him that when they land, he will get help right away with his mental health. Still, Justin tries to tell her that he is not having a mental breakdown and that he has proof of what is about to happen. But that's not enough to convince the air marshal. Then, she goes to talk with the pilot. While she's gone, Joe goes up to Justin and tells him he has faith in him. He also says that the fact that we are on this plane shows that anything is possible. After giving it some thought, Justin suggests that Joe, who is also a pilot, take over the plane and land it in Canada or somewhere else safe before it disappears. But Joe can't get into the cabin without a passcode. Justin is pretty sure that the code is 1015 because everything that is going on here is related to that number. With this information in hand, Joe goes into the cabin, knocks out the captain, and takes control of the plane by force. This makes the passengers panic, but before they can act, Joe lowers the air pressure in the cabin, which makes everyone finally pass out. Then, in an unexpected change of events, he says the haunting words, "Good night, New York." Later, we see Justin wake up on an island, next to a doll that is floating in the air. It's clear that their plane has crashed into the water. Justin gets scared and looks around, but he can't see anyone else. He finds the same MP3 player soon after and chooses to play it again. The presenter of the podcast keeps going with the second part of Flight 1015. According to the story, a lot of work was done to find the flight, but it was all for nothing. After a few days, a cargo ship found a small piece of land where all but one of the survivors had been able to stay alive. The storyteller says that Justin Sanderson was reported missing because no one on the deserted island could find him. At the same time, Justin looks up and sees the whole flight crew and all of the other people coming toward him. They are understandably angry about the situation, so they blame Justin for the plane crash and start to hurt him physically. He ends up dying because of this. Share your thoughts in the comments, give us a like and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next videos.